Welcome everyone! In this video, we are in the Great League, showcasing some more fun battles featuring Slurpuff! Slurpuff on the safe swap on a double fairy backline, classic ABB style team. I've been itching to try Slurpuff for quite some time, but before the Season 12 updates, it was just another charmer that only had access to nuke moves, which gave it a similar play style to something like a Wigglytuff. But now with Season 12, it's got Fairy Wind, which allows it to get to those charge moves very fast. And also on this team, we've got Florges in the back to close the game strong. On this double fairy backline, Florges proves to be quite the closer. And speaking of Fairy Wind, this is another Pokemon that received an update. Got the new fast move Fairy Wind, but as you can see, we're not running it. I think Fairy Wind on both of the back two Pokemon would be a bit of overkill, so I'm rolling with Vine Whip for the added coverage in the back as a closer. And also on this team, we've got Diggersby on the lead to protect our two fairy types from not only the steel types, but also from those poison jabbers like Nidoqueen. Diggersby pairs beautifully with two fairies in the back and gives the team some very nice bulk as well on the lead. Before we dive into the featured set of the video, we are starting things off with some bonus battles that I thought were tons of fun. And here we go, positive lead in Trevenant. Diggersby, one of the best answers to Trevenant amongst other ghost types in this meta, as with that normal typing. Of course, we are double resisting this fast move pressure, and we are quite tanky and tank damage for days. We also have access to Fire Punch, which really threatens Trevenant. Does about half of its health. You only need 2 plus a few mud shots to take it out. So we're going to go for Fire Punch number 2 in the shield. So we will return the shield in kind because we know that we win this in all scenarios. So we will shield that. Reading that there is an Azumarill or a G-Fisk in the back. There's the Azumarill as they catch the resisted damage onto it. This is a classic team comp with Trevenant on the lead. It's been around ever since Trevenant became relevant in the Great League. So we are absolutely playing with that in mind. We're reading that there is a G-Fisk in the back. So we go in the Florges, guys, and this is why we're running Vine Whip in the place of the new move Fairy Wind. Although Florges does now have access to it. On this particular team, I like Vine Whip for the coverage on these water types. Gives you a lot more opportunities to farm down in in-game scenarios as the closer. And we're running Psychic as well. That was not quite enough to KO the Azumarill. I like Psychic as well for the additional coverage on the poison types. But that one didn't work out. But we're fine letting Florges go down because our Diggersby is still pretty healthy. We were fully expecting them to immediately throw. So we throw Slurpuff in here to catch this damage. Slurpuff thoroughly impressed me, guys. I was so impressed with Slurpuff. It was so clutch in so many situations. Has a very nice stat product. It can tank damage very well and has excellent coverage on steel types. We're rolling with Flamethrower. You also have your choice of Energy Ball as well, but with all the steel types running rampant, Flamethrower I absolutely love for reasons like that. Taking out the G-Fisk, we did have an energy lead, but it did not even make it to a move. And as I mentioned, Slurpuff, tanks the damage and hangs on. I'm telling you guys, Slurpuff, super clutch in these battles. We get to a Flamethrower to really threaten that Trevenant. We grab the final shield, and we had some energy to spare on our Diggersby. We knew that a Seed Bomb wouldn't KO, but you got a shield left. Might as well use it as we get to the Fire Punch. Holy smokes, this team was a lot of fun and very effective in the Great League. I was thoroughly impressed with it, but that's going to be a good game. Well played. Double Fairy, never to be confused with Double Charm, was quite nice with these two fairies in the back. But here we go, Scrafty lead, terrible lead. We make a play into our safe swap, Slurpuff, and they meet us with a Registeel. Again, guys, this is why you definitely want to have Flamethrower for the steel types. And holy smokes, that does a lot of damage to a very bulky steel type. And I saw how much damage that did, and I know how bulky we are. We tank a zap cannon, no problem. And I'm thinking to myself, can we take this in the one shield scenario? I hadn't looked up the sims, but we go for flamethrower number 2, and they shield. So I'm thinking, I'm shielding this. There's no way that they're farming us down. Like I said, we've got some very nice bulk. And we're either going to flip switch with our Slurpuff on the safe swap or grab a shield advantage here. And holy smokes, that does loads of damage as well. Can we farm this thing down? And we do. That is the power of Slurpuff on the safe swap. It was amazing. And we got so excited about that we hit the wrong move, but that's fine. Not a big deal. Diggersby can handle Jellicent. Even if they're running Ice Beam, it's not a big deal. Diggersby shuts down these ghost types like you wouldn't believe. And they farmed up the Ice Beam energy. We tanked that, no problem. They aggro swap back into the Scrafty, but little did they know we had another fairy lurking in the back here. We are even on shields. They go foul play here. Doesn't do a whole lot. Florges tanks that pretty well. Not nearly as bulky as it would be, of course, in the Master League format. It does get pretty high at its max CP. Has a very similar stat product to XL Sableye in the Great League. So for those of you who are accustomed to the damage that XL Sableye can tank, Florges has a very similar bulk to XL Sableye. So we trade shields here. We get to nearly back-to-back disarming voices. We say bye-bye to the Scrafty. And can we make it to a Psychic here? And we do. Holy smokes. We know that this will not quite KO, as Jellicent is quite bulky, but it does enough to make this a lot easier for Diggersby. And they do get to another Ice Beam, but guys, Diggersby is about as tanky as it gets. We tank that long enough to get to the EQ. I don't think Fire Punch would have been enough, and EQ is just more fun to throw in those endgame scenarios as we say bye-bye to the Jellicent. Telling you guys, this team was insanely fun and very effective. That's going to be a good game. Well played. Man, guys, I cannot express enough how impressed I was with Slurpuff with Fairy Wind. It was quite nice, but we had a Beedrill on the lead, positive lead. They make a play into an Umbreon, and we've got our Slurpuff for the Umbreon, of course, with the new Fairy Wind. We are charging much faster, and this is why I like Play Rough as well. I have seen some variations of Slurpuff with the Flamethrower Energy Ball moveset. I think that limits its abilities a little bit. I think you definitely want to have that big stab move because it definitely comes in handy for situations like this here. And they do go for another last resort. We're going to try an overload on energy here. And even a foul play, although resisted, would be getting us quite low. We want to really put the pressure on that Beedrill in the back. So gonna go to nearly or well past 100 energy. We threw in an extra Fairy Wind there just to make sure that this would KO, and it does. And we are just a couple of Fairy Winds off from the next Flamethrower. They're thinking long and hard. We're still pretty healthy. We hang on. How clutch is this little thing? This cute little jiggly fairy is so clutch, guys. My goodness. And we pressure a shield. Getting that shield back. We are now even on shields again. And we're going to bring in our Diggersby onto this Poison Jabber. As I mentioned in the beginning, that is why Diggersby is here, for the Poison Jabbers and those Steel types. And this Poison Jabber here happens to take super effective damage from Fire Punches. It takes 2 to KO, and they've got a G-Fisk in the back, so my goodness, Diggersby is going to have to put in some overtime here. The way we're going to play this, get off that big damage. They tank it because they know that they can. And we're going to shield this. Like I said, Diggersby's got to put in some overtime with this particular team here. But it is up for the job for sure. We have to make a catch, guys. Got to catch this EQ onto our Florges. Making the plays. You love to see it. We had to preserve Diggersby for that Beedrill. Florges, not too many places to go against this team here. A little bit of dead weight, but here we go, guys. This is why we are running Psychic, like I said. And also, we were able to farm down that Stunfisk. That's another reason why we're running Vine Whip. I don't think that we would have been able to pull that off with Fairy Wind, just saying. But those were the bonus battles. As you can see, got a nice juicy 4-in-1 set for the bonus set here. I'm telling you guys, I was so impressed with Slurpuff. You gotta have the right team for it, but it was amazing. We got the featured set coming right up. Had a blast with those bonus battles. As we move into the featured set of the video, we are met with a Diggersby mirror matchup on the lead. So immediately on a safe swap, that's a neutral lead. Any ABB style team, you're swapping out on, of course, losing leads as well as the neutral leads. And they're staying in a little bit and gonna look to chip us with an earthquake. We take that like a champ. Like I said, Slurpuff has some very nice bulk for the Great League. And they've got a Slurpuff of their own. What the heck? What is going on here? This was so fun to see, my friends. They had it's looking like they have the same exact team, which is insane and a lot of fun to see. My goodness. This was, I can't tell you how amused I was to see this. So what we're going to try and do here is either grab a shield advantage with our Slurpuff or flip switch completely. We don't know what else they have in the back. We know that so far it's looking like an identical team. Not going to let them farm us down. We're going to throw Diggersby back in here. And it looks like they're even running the same moveset, guys. That is why I was so amused to see this. This was so fun. But we do have the shield advantage. And Florges is such a good closer, especially with a shield advantage in the Great League. We're going to play with that in mind. We don't know what else they have left in the back. If they have a Florges of their own in the back, I was literally going to I don't know what I was going to do. But Diggersby here is putting in the work up against this opposing Diggersby. We tank an EQ long enough to get off another EQ, guys. Diggersby's bulk is insanely powerful. It's off the charts. We tanked a Play Rough with Stab, a Fire Punch, and an Earthquake. That's insane. So now we come in, we get ahead by one Vine Whip on our own Florges, and no, it's not an identical team. It is another Fairy, but it's a boring Charmer. I think ours is a little bit more fun, maybe even more effective. We go for this big Psychic here that does loads of damage to the Charm Alolan Ninetales. Tried to catch a Weather Ball here, but that's okay. That's one less charm that we had to tank. They throw in their own Slurpuff left. We cannot farm down. We wanted to get close enough to two disarming voices. One will take out this Slurpuff, and we were just a few Vine Whips off from the next one. This is why we preserve a shield advantage for Florges to bring it home for us. We shield up the Weather Ball, and we've got the disarming voice locked and loaded, as Florges allows us to say bye-bye to the A9. My goodness, what a fun battle there. That was so fun and amusing to see. And our double fairy line took it in the end. That's going to be a good game. Well played. So if you guys were unsure about Slurpuff with Fairy Wind, I'm here to let you know it gets my stamp of approval. Here we go. Had a positive lead in Tentacruel, and they make a play into a Water Gun Lantern. So what we're going to do, knowing how bulky Lantern can be, or is, excuse me, we're going to look to either grab a shield advantage or do big, massive, super effective damage with our Earthquake and they shield. So it's Florges time. Again, another reason why on this particular team, I prefer Vine Whip. I'm not saying that Vine Whip is better in every circumstance, but for this team, I like the coverage that Vine Whip gives. We are, of course, applying super effective fast move pressure to the Lantern and not expecting them to shield. So we're going to go for the bigger move, does more raw damage than our disarming voice, even with stab. So now at this point, we can safely shield up this Surf here and farm all the way down, and we will have loaded energy for whatever comes back in. And it's a Superior, so they're not going to let us have our fun by getting off big damage with Psychic, but that's okay. They tank that easily, no problem. And we get to another move, guys. We get to a disarming voice. Rank 1, Florges coming in clutch, making it to another move before they farm down, and holy smokes. Florges putting in the work. You love to see it. My goodness. And we're going to bring in our Slurpuff here to soak whatever damage they have. They're going to bank a move, so it's Diggersby time yet again. And we're just going to throw this. We're going to Hail Mary and EQ. They might think that we're baiting with a Fire Punch, but no, we're not. We're doing massive damage on that Tentacool, and it doesn't even make it to a move. My goodness, Diggersby, amazing. One of my favorite normal types to run. And they're going to throw a move that is fine. We are even on shields, and we are about as healthy as it gets for this endgame scenario. They get to another move, but guys, like I said, we tank damage, no problem, and we knew that we could farm down. Slurpuff coming in clutch, closing the endgame. You love to see it. That's going to be a good game. Well played. I am telling you guys, this team absolutely blew me away and far exceeded my expectations. It was so effective. But here we go. Medicham lead. Terrible lead. We go into our Slurpuff, and they meet us with a Lantern. Running Spark. So right here is, of course, where you would, where Energy Ball would be nice. But Play Rough with Stab does plenty of damage. And was going through my mind as to how to tackle this here, this team here. They led with Medi, got Lantern in the back. They bait us with a Surf. We call that successfully, but they're just going to go for the back-to-back here. And I wasn't sure if I was playing this correctly, letting this Lantern put in this much work in this mid-game matchup as they just shield up the second Play Rough to preserve Switch. Justifiably so, of course. You definitely want Medicham on a bulky normal type like Diggersby. But here we decide to soak all this damage yet again. This Lantern popping off on our team here a little bit. But we didn't want to give, we didn't want to even up the shielding scenarios. Knowing how powerful Florges can be with a shield advantage, we elect to just no shield all of this, seeing Diggersby as a little bit of dead weight, knowing that they have a very powerful fighter on their team. So here we go. It's all up to Florges. They've got a Noctowl in the back. So this is looking pretty rough for us here, guys. Not gonna lie. Gonna go for this big Psychic here. Noctowl trainers will generally tank big damage as Noctowl is quite bulky. But we do have the shield advantage. So we are gonna play accordingly here. Gonna shield up everything from the Noctowl and try and take it out and have some energy loaded for the Medicham. That is a lot to ask. But I think rank 1 Florges may be able to pull it off here. We're gonna have to shield everything. We can't afford to take this much damage from this Noctowl here. We know that we will outpace to another Disarming Voice. I wasn't sure if it would KO. I knew that Florges hit pretty hard. This does have Stab, Disarming Voice, one of the better fairy type moves that it does KO. Now, our Diggersby is still relatively healthy. We're going to try and get off some massive, super effective damage with Stab in the form of Disarming Voice. And holy smokes, that does a lot of damage to a pretty bulky Pokemon in Medicham. Holy smokes, I think this might be doable. Diggersby hangs on long enough. We had some residual energy. I'm like, come on, KO please. Bring it home for us, Diggersby, and it does, my goodness. I'm telling you guys, this team was wildly effective, guys. It was putting in the work, and it was a lot of fun. That's going to be a good game. Well played. I will admit, running this team was a little rocky in the beginning as we tried it with Alolan Marowak. Wasn't doing as well, but we made the switch to Diggersby, and it was all smooth sailing from there. But here we go, guys. Skarmory lead. We have Diggersby here for Steel types, but Skarmory is probably the worst Steel type for Diggersby. It still does very well, as we do have access to Fire Punch. But it takes 3 of them to take out a Skarmory because Diggersby does not hit particularly hard and they don't have Stab. And Skarmory has some amazing bulk here. So one of the trickier Steel types for Diggersby to handle. But like I said, we can still do very well up against it. So Skarmory lead. I'm reading that there's definitely a Swampert in the back. 9 times out of 10, if you see a Swampert lead or a Skarmory lead, there's definitely going to be a Swampert in the back, or if it's a Swampert lead, going to be a Skarmory in the back. So playing with that in mind, we let Diggersby go. We get ahead on energy with our Florges, reading a Swampert in the back. Diggersby's not going to be very useful. But they've got a Stunfisk as well, which is pretty bad for us here. We tank the Rock Slide. And all we can really do is go for these Psychics here. It's going to, like I said, it's going to do more raw damage than Disarming Voice. And you do have a chance to drop the defense on your opponent. So we're trying to fish for a little bit of a debuff here, going for these Psychics. And we're actually doing pretty well. We're chipping away slowly but surely. At this point, I'm still thinking that there's a Swampert in the back. So we shield this up and going to try and catch the next Rock Slide onto our Slurpuff. Basically sacrificing it because Slurpuff doesn't have the best matchup up against Swampert. But they don't swap into it. They usually will preserve a shield advantage for the Swampert to sweep. And they're staying in a little bit here. So I'm scratching my head. I'm wondering, what are they doing? That maybe they see that it's a fairy and that they can still put in some work, which they are doing. So we're going to look to take it out with a flamethrower. And they shield. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is going on here? What is going on? I'm thinking for sure there's a Swampert in the back. So we let this go and going to try and farm down, but it's not a Swampert, it's a Medicham. No wonder they were fighting us so hard with that G-Fisk. So we kind of zigged when we should have zagged. We were off on our team read, and our Florges is just not healthy enough to handle this Medicham. Even though we are absolutely loaded on energy, they are going to have the ability to farm us down with resisted counters. That's unfortunate. Couldn't quite get that one done, but good game. Very well played to our opponent. I'm telling you guys, I'm so happy I finally got to run Slurpuff with Fairy Wind. It was so nice. But here we go. Stunfisk lead. Positive lead for us. We love to see these Stunfisk leads. So many people are running them now to answer the Altaria and Abomasnow reemergence in the Great League. Diggersby loves to see it. We tank an EQ. They looks like they wanted to chip, and they make an aggressive play into a Trevenant. We saw that they did that, and I don't know if this is the right play for them. Swap it in a Trevenant on a fully loaded Diggersby. I think that's a bad idea. So we're not going to let them hit us with a Seed Bomb. Going to preserve Diggersby for that G-Fisk. We're going to throw Slurpuff in here to farm this thing down. We take that big Shadow Ball from a hard-hitting Pokemon, no problem. And expecting the G-Fisk, but no, they come in with a Mew. So they're running double Shadow Claw users in the back behind G-Fisk. Very fun-looking team here, but I would tell you guys, Diggersby loves to see a team like this. It has a fun time. So, knowing fully what their team is, we're going to come in with Florges and just soak damage from this Mew here and try and get in some damage of our own here. Our Diggersby is still relatively healthy. They're running Flame Charge. Gonna go for the Disarming Voice here. It's gonna do loads of damage. Mew is not known for its bulk, but they shield. Very interesting. Seeing that they did that, we know that we can spare a shield here. We want to save at least one shield for the G-Fisk, for our Diggersby. And we wanted to get some damage off on that Mew. They're not letting it happen, so that's fine. They aggro swap back into the G-Fisk. Gotta go for this massive Earthquake. It's not gonna quite KO, but it gives us just enough farm to threaten that Mew. We will shield up their potential EQ here. Diggersby's on a roll. We're gonna roll with it. Gonna look to chip with a Fire Punch. It's not gonna KO, of course, but it's gonna be doing some considerable damage. As I mentioned, Mew, not known for its bulk. And they do get to another move. Most likely a Flame Charge. Not sure what the second move could be. It's usually Surf, and I think they should have thrown it if they were running it. But likely wanting to rev up that damage, have some energy for the Florges, but not going to work out for them. Diggersby was here to shut all that down as it closes the game strong. And that is the team, my friends. How about this double fairy team? Featuring Slurpuff on the safe swap. Holy smokes, guys. What a fun team. And not only was it fun, it was wildly effective, guys. I was thoroughly impressed with Slurpuff. Because like I said before, they updated it with Fairy Wind. It was just another charmer, and it was at the bottom of the ranks in terms of charmers that you'd want to use. Before the update, it had sort of a play style similar to Wigglytuff, but Wigglytuff was a better option because it has that normal typing for the ghost types. So Slurpuff didn't get much love until now, guys. It's got a whole different play dynamic to it with Fairy Wind. It's able to charge those hard-hitting charge attacks very fast, has excellent coverage on steel types, can really put in the work in the Great League. I was thoroughly impressed with it, but yeah, you pair that with a bulky ground type on the lead that can handle poison types and steel types, and you got a solid closer to bring it home for you in Florges. That's a recipe for a very effective team. But yeah, guys, I had a blast. I hope you all enjoyed. As always, I thank you for watching. Keep up the grind. Thank you, guys.